Welcome to round number 2 of the Downhill Southeast Series right here at Massanutten Bike Park in McGaysville, Virginia, where the name of the game is rocks, a little bit of loam, and yeah, more rocks. We've had a little rain bringing some much needed moisture to the track, but overall it's a perfect spring weekend here. This storied venue played host to the World Cup in 1997 and continued to showcase some of the most legendary downhill racing here on the East Coast ever since. Coming on the heels of our season opener at TTC, where the field was stacked with top pros, going right into the Tennessee National and Monster Energy Pro Downhill at Ride Rock Creek, this season has been a full-on clash of the U.S. downhill elite. But with the first World Cup at Fort William just 1 week away, it's time for our rising regional talent to take the center stage here at this classic and notoriously challenging venue. This weekend, our pros are battling it out on the all or nothing track. So let's make our way up the hillside for a breakdown on what our riders are up against as they make their way down this classic Virginia mountainside. Well, right out of the gate, our racers drop straight into the historic Massanutten Ridge Rock Garden. This is the only section of today's track that shares the same trail bed as the '97 World Cup. After tackling the first long off-camber slab, our racers have a short sprint before they drop into the second, chunkier, more eroded slab section. This sets the tone for the entire track, where pumping and precision are the only way you're gonna hold pace to get yourself up on that podium. Once you punch through this section, you drop into the Ridgeline motorway. A few doubles and a fast right-hander will drive you straight into split number 2. Now here's where things are gonna spice back up a bit. We've got a lot of fresh loam, but we still have a ton of square edge rocks sprinkled throughout, leading us right into the famous Party Rock. Now there's several line choices here, and it's really up to our racers to decide what's going to get them down through here the fastest. Dropping into split number 3, our riders have a few more corners and some off-camber sections before they get to the last highlight section, the Massanutten Scrapyard. This legendary rock garden is over 100 yards long, and it is littered with non-stop square edges. Any mistakes through here will knock our racers offline and squash any chance they have at reaching that podium. But make it through with your wheels intact, and you've got one final sprint right down to the finish line. Precise lines are mandatory, and even the slightest loss of momentum will take you out of the running. So bring your A game, a spare wheel set or two, and let's go racing. All right, well, I'm here with Sean Grizz McClendon. Sean's our announcer for the 2024 season. You've already met him at the TTC Race Replay show. And Sean, we've got some interesting developments this weekend. We had a little bit of moisture for practice yesterday morning. Things got a little slick. Dirt got a little loamier though, but the sun has come out. It's shining bright. It's getting hot. Everything's drying off. What are you noticing on track today?
Everything you said is accurate, Rich. You know, a lot of riders were really happy with the conditions yesterday. They said the rain was welcomed. I don't know how much it's going to dry out today. I know this place is really sandy. It absorbs water really well. But wet or dry, rocks are going to be flying, bikes are going to be squirming, and the riders that are going to be able to manage that squirm, keep air in their tires, and keep their wheels together are going to have the best odds for a good race run here today.
Well, absolutely. We're just moments away from racing. We're going to get on up the hill and see how everything shakes down. And should be an exciting one, Grizz.
I'm fired up. Let's go racing, Rich.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Rich. It's great to be back in the booth here at Downhill Southeast, and I'm joined by Drew Hager. And we're taking a look at these pro women's seeding results as we get ready for racing. And it was tight at the top. Xana Logar, just a 1.2 second advantage over Charlotte Gardot, and only 3.6 up on Shell Peugeot. Raina Logar, the younger of the Logar sisters, in 4th, with Delaney Stoll and Amelia Capuano coming back fresh off an injury in 6th.
Super proud of Amelia for getting back out there and healing up and racing super quick. And let's get to racing.
And Drew, our first rider will be Raina Logar. She is sitting on the hot seat. It's going to be our first chance to take a look at the course, and right off the bat on that Massanutten Ridge Rock Garden, huge gaps. It really doesn't take any time for you to get into this course.
Nope. It's a nice grippy rock. It's nice and dry today. It was a lot slipperier yesterday during seeding. Not that these rocks are very slick when they get wet, but you don't want to touch your brakes.
Yeah, it's really physical up here in split number 1. Not a ton of gravity to work with. And it's 57.8 for Reyna. And that's pretty close to what we saw from our top split yesterday from Xana Logar. It was a 58.09. That's our first look at Party Rock. Big chunk in there, Drew.
Lots of wheel grabbers right there. This course, much like Snowshoe, is described as a flat course. Not that it's not on the side of a hill, because it is, but you know what, Will? There's nothing you can do to get your momentum back once you lose it here.
Yeah, it's really tough to get back into the groove. It's great to see Reyna up here in the pro class. She's just 15 years old from Davis, West Virginia. And the Scrapyard Rock Garden will certainly be taking names today, but not for Reyna Logar. A nice high line right there. She exits with good speed, and she's going to be our first rider to break the beam, and she'll put down a 3:27. So 6 seconds off the pace from our top time yesterday as we go into our top three, and we're kicking it off with Rochelle Peugeot out of Quebec. She's on that new Santa Cruz V10. It is looking fire, Drew.
Yeah, it's an awesome bike. I love the color red that the new V10s come in. It's loud yet understated somehow. I don't even get it.
Rochelle looking very composed here up top, and you can actually see the difference in pace between Reyna Logar and Shell Peugeot, and Shell not having to pedal to get up to speed here on the motorway, Drew, as we'll see split number one coming up. The top split from yesterday was a 58.069. Oh, and it's a 54.5. That's a huge top sector for Shell.
Very nice. So Shell has raced this course quite a bit. She won here back in 2022, and she got second in 2021. She's no stranger to this course, knows what it looks like and how to keep her momentum through these rocks.
Well, and she's looking for this course to bring her some good vibes in her 2024 season. Really needs something to kind of jumpstart her campaign with a big result. That might be one of the steepest sections of the course right there, Drew, and Shell makes short work of it as she's extended that lead to 2:24, and again, 5 seconds up on our fastest time from split number 2 yesterday. So nothing between Shell and the finish line but the white knuckles.
Yep, perfect lines, keeping it straight.
I like that, Drew. Clean.
Yep, the less you have to turn, the better. What a cruel sprint to the finish there, slightly uphill.
Shell able to push through it, and it's a 3:20. 7 seconds into the hot seat, and that is 1 second faster than we saw from Xana Logar yesterday. 2 more riders to go. Charlotte Gordeau from Bromont, Quebec, a 3:22 yesterday. So she will be on the hunt to dethrone Shell from the hot seat.
Yep, one of our racers that traveled the farthest to get here.
And another one of the young women that's rising up into the pro class here at Downhill Southeast. We got 4 riders on the show today, and 3 of them under the age of 18. Charlotte, one of those?
Yep, she got 7th at the Monster Energy Pro Downhill at Rock Creek.
Well, she's 2.9 back, Drew. Certainly a tough course to get acquainted with, and what I can only assume is her first time down here. Being from Quebec, a big move there in the Party Rock section for Gordeau. She takes that rider's right line. We're going to see a few different lines in there today. On great pace through that corner. We've seen a couple riders already kind of get caught out there. No troubles there for Charlotte.
Look at the dust kicking up. You can see just how dry this course dried out overnight. It was at least 10 degrees warmer today, too.
Well, that means the track's going to be faster. For sure. Everybody's going to be fired up. And a different line there, Drew, from Shell.
It's a part of the course where the line kind of picks you. If you get a little chattered off, you can't really steer on top of those rocks without going sideways.
Well, Charlotte Gordeau, she'll go second, just outside that time of Shell Peugeot. It's a 3:20.9, 8 tenths into the red with 1 rider left to go, Drew. And it's Xana Logar She's got a steely look of confidence on her face coming into the race today because she had an incredible 2023 campaign at Downhill Southeast, had 2 wins last year.
That's right. She's a fierce competitor, as is her sister. These sisters hate losing bike races, but it really makes for good racing when they are in attendance.
Well, looking mighty composed up here. Looking like a veteran, might I add, Drew. Only 16 years old this year. And she's right there in touch with Shell. No, Logar goes
great.
off.
No.
Got it.
All right.
Big get off, and oh god, it's so flat.
Made the motorway look like a pump track, but those rocks just, they have different plans than you sometimes.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough to recover from, Drew, and get back up to pace here. And yeah, we'll catch back up with her at the end of split number 2. She's 11 seconds back, so what could have been for Xana Logar, winner of round number 1 at Downhill Southeast, was trying to go back-to-back, had a little bit of pressure maybe on her shoulders, being the last woman on track today.
A little squirrely on the back end there.
Well, we will see more of Xana Logar from the Gravity Collective this year. Not going to be her day today. Goes into 4th place.
But hey, she made it home safe and sane.
It's going to be a big-time result today for Shell Peugeot as she stands atop the podium here at Downhill Southeast. Charlotte Gardot in 2nd and Raina Logar in 3rd. Let's go to Shell.
This is my favorite race of the season. It's such a good course. I personally think so. There's a lot of rocks. There's a couple of little jumps in the middle, and it's just, yeah, I love it top to bottom. It feels pretty good. I kind of needed that. I mean, the season's barely started, but it still felt like there's been a lot of ups and downs, and even last year, so I'm pretty stoked to feel like I put down a good run that I'm happy with, and it even gave me the W, so it's pretty good all in all.
Well, Drew, we're taking a look at the pro men's seeding results from yesterday, and what really stands out to me is this top 5 is separated by less than 3 seconds. Chris Leig and Nathan Stersick on the same 1/10 of a second, essentially, with Titus Nicholson right there on the same second as well. And that's just incredible for a track like Massanutten that has so many variables that can throw you off your line.
That's true. There's a couple places where you have some line selection, but that I don't think is what really brings the tightness of the times together. I think it's really the fact that if you lose momentum on these rocks, you're going to slow down, and you're going to have to pedal when you don't want to have to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to put your cranks any closer to these rocks than you have to, but Jack Peterson, pretty close to the top. He's lurking in 4th, 1.5 seconds off the fastest time yesterday, and Colin Bourke's got a chance as well today, just 2.7 seconds off that time of the young 15-year-old Chris Leig. But let's go to our hot seat rider. And here's Nick Frazier from Vernon, Connecticut, our hot seat rider before we get into the top 8. Drew Frazier, one of these devastatingly fast juniors that are seeming to come out of everywhere these days. He's only 16 years old.
Did you see how fast he came out of the start gate?
Wow.
All right, there's something you got to know.
Well, this split number 1.
Right before the split, I got to tell you, he broke his spine with a compression fracture at this course in practice on Friday.
What? 2 days ago with a compression fracture, and he's back here jostling that spine around pretty good. 48 seconds on split 1, so he's 6 seconds off the pace we saw yesterday. But man, Frazier is really letting it hang out.
Excellent line choice. Floating over these rocks.
Yeah, and these lines, they're really deceptive. There is going to be some difference that we see here today, but it's just real minute. Like right there, you saw Frazier straight lining that section. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of folks get pushed low there.
Final shoot. Oh, that was loud.
Yeah, Frazier not holding anything back. Oh, he does. Wow, that is a flat rear. Maybe not the first we'll see today. It's a 240.7. As he kind of thinks what could have been certainly a few more seconds out there for young Nick, but we'll see him back on the scene again as we move to our top 8, and Carter Lindblum from Charlottesville, Virginia. Rides for Blue Wheel Bicycles, and hopefully you brought a few extra spare wheels this weekend as he dives straight into the Massanutten Ridge. Such a committed section, Drew.
Yep, nice start right out of the gate. Coming from Charlottesville, he's not super far away from this venue. I wonder if he's got some time out here.
Yeah, one would think so. Oh, and he's really linking these rollers together, staying nice and low.
Very efficient.
Split number one. He's up.
Oh,
he's up by 1.8,
yeah.
and he's on that inside line. Riders left.
Now, Carter has some results racing enduro, but I think this is only like his third downhill race.
Oh, and he's loose right there.
Bobble.
That's an off-camber rock that you're kind of coming up onto, obviously off some loam dust that could be a bit slippery today. But yeah, he is new to the downhill scene, Drew. He goes to Virginia Tech. He's an industrial design student up there. As he loses just a little bit of time, he's 0.8 back now, 2 minutes flat. That is in touch with our fastest second split from yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, it's not a bad loss for a bobble there.
Oh, that's such a hard compression there as you exit the scrapyard rock garden. It's Carter Lindblum.
He really rides at the front of the bike.
We'll power it down to the line. Let's see. It's a 2:43. So lost a little bit more time there in the scrapyard, 3 seconds back. As we move on to Walker Shaw out of Brevard, North Carolina. He's on one of those Frameworks rigs this year. Nico's got him on the program. Just came back from California, Drew, 4th place there in Sea Otter, so he's certainly got his pumping skills on this year.
That's right. It's about the smoothest we've seen on the start rock there.
Oh, Shaw getting a little offline right there. It does fall away there to the right. But, yeah, we'll see nary a pedal stroke out of Walker Shaw right here on the motorway. .6, Drew, a 43.7
Wow.
on split number one.
Maybe B-Team Matt was onto something when he put Walker in the top 3.
And Walker was fastest at split number one yesterday. Actually, he was a second faster than that yesterday, so I'm not sure if it's just a little bit more loose today, just having trouble getting into the run. But, yeah, that first split's going to be tough to beat that he just threw down. And he's still up by 1 second.
Right.
And look at that inside.
Getting it done with that Frameworks frame and those Michelin tires.
Yeah, just trying to keep that bike as steady as possible underneath him. As Shaw
foot came off
heavy
low.
there. Well, quickly back up on the pedals as Walker Shaw going to cross the line at 2:43. So, wow, just lost a few
some at
seconds
the end.
there. Yeah, so he's back by 3 seconds as we move into Jake Kahn at Oliver Springs, Tennessee. A 2:47 was the time for Kahn yesterday. Jake likes it here. Second place when we were last at this track in 2022, Drew.
Yep. That year he was the overall winner for the series. No stranger to these East Coast tracks and the rocks that contain them.
Pretty smooth here for Kahn. Definitely a place where you can kind of let the arms rest because for the rest of the track, you are full on. Oh, and he's up on Shaw. So he's almost a second up, 7/10 into the green, and riders left on Party Rock.
This could be promising.
Yeah, that riders left line.
There's not a lot of partying on the Party Rock this time.
Yeah, I guess everybody's enjoying the burgers and beers down at the finish line this year. Straight down the gut there. Split number 2. And he's lost time. He's back by 1.7, Drew. What can he get into in the scrapyard?
Well, if you don't get offline and you keep it straight, you don't have to steer, you might come out of the bottom a lot quicker than you think.
Oh, that was
For example.
clean.
Yes.
1.7 back at split 2. Can Kahn turn this around at the finish line? Jake Kahn, he lost more time. It's a 2:44 for Jake Kahn. 4 seconds back for our current hot seat rider. 2 seconds off that fast time from seating yesterday. And here is Colin Bourke out of Hamden, Connecticut. 245 yesterday for the rider from Defiant Racing. Teammates with our top-seeded rider, Chris Leig.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh. Stretched out there, Drew.
Yeah, Colin.
That almost looked like it was going to be a nose wheelie.
Yeah, he had to put down the landing gear before he completely gapped that slab.
All right, the motorway here, you got to treat this like a pump track. You got to keep your momentum through here. You can get a lot of speed off the backside of these humps.
It's looking like a good first split to me, Drew. Oh, and the time
Really
reflects
good.
that. He's up by
Really
almost
good.
2 seconds. Oh, he's gapping into that rock section.
You know, this Defiant Racing team's got a pretty big presence at this race and downhill southeast in general. They show up in numbers.
Well, and Colin Bourke, one of the fastest riders on this team, pretty experienced. He's been on the circuit for a number of years, and he's continuing his green ways at the split, up by almost a second into the scrapyard.
Oh, to the inside of the tree.
Oh, Bourke
right.
letting her buck down there.
Yeah.
We've got Titus Nicholson.
Into this cruel sprint with the left-hand turn at the end.
Oh, excuse me, this is Colin Bourke. Sorry.
And Bourke's going to cross the line in second place. Wow,
Okay.
0.4 of a second down, so it's a 241.1 for Colin Bourke. As we are into our top 4, Jack Peterson takes a deep breath right there. Exhales because he is getting ready to throw down here at Massanutten on that Southern Gravity rig. Oh, and he totally tapped that
wow.
rock.
So BT Matt had him picked as the number 1. Is he going to pull it off?
Well, Peterson hails from Breckenridge, Colorado. Spends a lot of time in Tennessee, but not going to be thrown off by this rough, dusty track. Looks to be shutting
Got
it
something going
down.
on here.
No,
Oh, is that a flat
Wow.
tire?
no, not what Peterson had drawn up today for finals. Well,
Well, he makes
he's
it
going to
down.
get that thing across.
That's Jack Peterson with
But you can't hurt that Southern
Unfortunate.
Gravity frame. It's made out of steel. But those tires, those rubber tires, don't stand a chance to these rocks.
finish line now.
Well, Titus Nicholson, we're into our top 3 now. He's out of West Milford, New Jersey. Another Defiant Racing rider on the replay show here in Massanutten. And Drew, Titus has been itching to get back to the sharp end of the field. A couple rough years for him. Kind of underperformed and a lot of injuries.
Yeah, looking super good, though, right out of the gate. I'm liking it.
He was 5th back here in 2019, and then, like we mentioned, a couple years of unfortunate injuries, but I like the body language here, Drew, setting up well as he comes to split number 1. Oh, and it's a big number there, 3.9
that's
into the
solid.
green for Nicholson.
All right. It's no surprise he gets injuries, though. Have you ever followed his Instagram?
He's a loose cannon, Drew. No other
Yeah.
way to put it.
He likes his eggs with a side of mayhem.
Well, he's riding all the sides of the track here at Massanutten in those loamy sections. Oh, and he got caught up on a little pine tree there.
That tree didn't stand a chance.
Holding it together, 2.2 back.
Okay, and touch.
Surely he's going to let it go here.
That's a very fast exit on the
Yeah,
pedals.
I didn't see any bobbles there. So Nicholson, can he
This is the
make
number
up
2
that
plate of
little bit of
Titus.
time
Looking good.
here?
So, what is Titus going to do today?
He's 5th. Wow.
Wow,
A
okay.
245 for Nicholson. So lost a bunch of time there in that scrapyard rock garden. Something special went down in the scrapyard. And maybe one of our top 2 riders can knock that time off. Nathan Stersick from Prevost, Quebec. He put down a 242 yesterday. Still chasing that 240 from Nick Frazier.
Another pick by B Team Matt.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that
no.
was hard. What a hit for Stersick.
Well, There goes the backboard.
Lead for the series overall.
Heel up, brother. Heel up.
Well, we only have one rider left to go to tackle this track. It is Chris Leig from Hardegrave, Maryland. Put down a 2:42 yesterday. So totally possible for Leig to step up. This would be a huge win for the young 15-year-old. Doesn't turn 16 till November, and he's going huge off the gate.
Sailing. You know, this is his first pro.
You know, in a fitting place for Chris to make a pro debut. Did his first race here when he was 7 years old, or excuse me, his first lap of the World Cup track when he was 7 years old. Look at the BMX skills there, Drew. Manualing the rhythm section.
And Chris is born and bred to be a bike racer, with having Kevin Leig as his father. Ooh, look at that. 210
Oh,
up.
he's on a heater, Drew. Over 2 seconds up, and he's so composed.
He definitely knows every inch of this course, so keeping an inch-perfect run is not going to be hard for him.
Yeah, and he just looks really confident right there, kind of pumping through. That's a slower section of the track. A lot of other riders are getting sped up, maybe kind of taking a panic pedal right there, but Leig collected, and he's still green. He's up by 0.7, so it's going to come down to the scrapyard, Drew.
As long as he doesn't turn into a ping-pong ball in the scrapyard, I think we're looking good.
Oh, and he's through a hard hit there for Leig.
Ooh, wow.
17 plate, Chris Leig.
Well, everybody else
Charging
has
to the line.
lost
He's gonna be
time
going for his
in the
first pro win.
scrapyard. Can Leig keep it green? And he does. He'll take
Oh,
the
look at
win,
that.
a 240. And look at the celebrations from his
He was on the
Defiant
pedals
Racing
a lot more than
teammates.
anybody else coming out of the woods for that final sprint. I think that has a lot to do with that time.
Yeah, look at the camaraderie there. Well, here is your podium. Chris Leig, the youngest pro winner in downhill Southeast history in the men's class. Nick Frazier in second, Colin Bourke in third.
Nick Frazier with a broken back and a flat tire.
Course was really, really good. First 2 days were really awesome. Race run, so blown out, pretty messy, so had to make up for that. But yeah, it's pretty wild. The competition in the downhill Southeast is just getting crazier and crazier every year, and it's more of an accomplishment to keep winning. And we got some new suspension, and suspension is insane. Loving it. The team is great. Thank you for all the support from my team and everyone. It's been really awesome.
Well, that's a wrap for round 2 of Downhill Southeast here at Massanutten Bike Park. We look forward to seeing you all back at Snowshoe, West Virginia for round number 3 at the beginning of June. But until then, on behalf of myself and the entire Gravity Cooperative, we want to thank you for supporting US Downhill.